Good morning and welcome to Coffee and Cosmos with Robin. My name is Robin Fritz. I'm an intuitive and spiritual consultant and past life regression specialist based in Seattle, Washington, and host of the Om Times radio show, The Practical Intuitive Mind, Body, Spirit for the Real World. Today we're going to talk about magnetizing our reincarnating animals. Yes, that's a whole process that I learned. And I want to share a little bit about it with you. I will also be covering this topic on magnetizing and how our animals come back to us this afternoon on my radio show at 2 Pacific Time, 5 Eastern Time. But again, welcome to Coffee and Cosmos with Robin. My name is Robin Fritz. It is always a great pleasure and an honor to be here with you today. So, we're going to be talking about magnetizing our reincarnated animals. We're going to do meditation with Crystal Fallon, a crystal of the week, and energy healing. And I would love to take 2 quick questions from people looking at some sort of issue for you intuitively. But again, let's just jump right into the subject of today. So with that, we'll start with a guided meditation with Crystal Fallon. And those of you who have joined me before know that Fallon is a citrine Lemurian quartz, a very rare kind of quartz. And you can feel his energy depending on how you're into it, connecting mind, body, and spirit really tightly together here in this half hour together. And as you breathe down from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet, just let this rush of energy run through you, clear out all the blocks and all the cares of the day and everything that you're doing so that you have time here with this wonderful community that Om Times people have created for us and here in this half hour with me and Fallon. So as you breathe down from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet, just let everything go. So breathing down from the top of your head, down your face, your shoulders, your chest, your hips, your knees, and your feet. The top of your head to the bottom of your feet. Just feel that rush of energy run through you, clearing you out, just getting you balanced and grounded here in this space with us. And now as you reverse that process, let's breathe up from the bottom of our feet to the top of our head. And as you do that, you're more than welcome to invite Fallon's healing energy into you or simply notice it around you. So as you're breathing up from your feet, past your knees, your hips, your chest, your shoulders, your face, and the top of your head, your crown chakra. So very often I warn people, crown chakras are wide open when you're connecting with Fallon, and that's great because we'll close you down at the end of the half hour here with us today. So again, my name is Robin Fritz. I host the Om Times radio show, The Practical Intuitive Mind, Body, Spirit for the Real World. And it airs Mondays at 2 Pacific Time, 5 Eastern. And today here I want to talk about magnetizing our reincarnated animals. It's part of a conversation I will get into in more depth this afternoon in my series of radio shows talking about reincarnation, talking about what our animals are up to with us and then in the afterlife and in the choices they make next, as well as what our human loved ones are experiencing. Hi, Joe. Thank you for joining us today. And the first 2 people who put in a quick question for intuitive insight, I'll take your questions if you have some. But let's get on to the subject of magnetizing our animals. And again, we'll talk about it more on my radio show. But here's the thing. My beautiful Cavalier King Charles Spaniel, Alki, died in November 2014. And in the winter, I decided I wanted another dog, and suddenly this little Cavalier puppy popped into my head and said, "Hi, my name is Oliver." Right away, I knew it was the same soul, and it wasn't until, "Hello from Portugal. Thank you. Welcome to Seattle virtually," that I realized it was Alki reincarnating with his memories intact. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Well, I had chosen a breeder who was over 2,000 miles away from me. And I explained to him I was sending him a soul to be born. This whole story is is more involved, and I'll explain it on my radio show. And I know it sounds like, what the heck is she doing? I was just, you know how they call it flying by the seat of your pants? That's kind of what I was doing. I was kind of making up this whole putting Oliver in a body 2,000 miles away with a person who didn't know me and probably thought I was a little off. But the whole process was, once this litter of puppies was born, hi from India. Awesome. Thank you for joining us. Once a puppy was born and I picked him out of the picture that the breeder sent to me, the breeder told me I couldn't have him because he was his top pick for a show dog, which I respected, which was the risk that I took in asking Ollie to be born from a top breeder who was into show dogs. But I also knew he was a very loving person and was breeding healthy dogs. So there was a period of time in the late summer of 2015, early fall, where I was trying to decide. I would love to visit India. Thank you. Well, we are certainly visiting virtually here today, which is the magic and the wonder of technology, right? We couldn't imagine doing this 50 years ago, being able to talk like this live. So I'm a very analytical, skeptical person, and I know that sounds weird because here I am working as a professional intuitive. But as you well know, when you want something and you really want it very badly, it's really hard to trust, and it's really hard to just let go. And Oliver kept telling me, oh, we've had harder times finding each other in previous lifetimes, right? I mean, that's like shocking because it's true. Our animals remember their previous lives with us much easier than we do. We have all these blocks because we're human. So here I was trying to figure out how to bring Oliver home again in his new body as Oliver. And my spiritual team said, you need to magnetize him. And I'm like, okay, like what? And they said, here's what you do. You imagine holding Oliver in your arms and just imagine the feel of him and what it feels like to hold him, hold that puppy, and invite that energy of that puppy body to connect with your energy so that you're magnetizing each other. Well, that is one of those metaphysical concepts that is better in a time when you're not stressed out and anxious for something to happen. Here's the other thing that was involved in that situation. I told the breeder to look for a mismatched puppy, mismarked, as they say, with all different kinds of spots on him. And so he picked another dog out of that litter, and he wanted me to take that dog, and he thought that was mine. I called that dog Mr. Blotchy, which was an affectionate term. He had a big smudge on his face. But that was not the soul that I sent to him. So I said, no, this other soul is the one that is mine. So there I was following my spiritual team's recommendations. I live on Puget Sound in Seattle, Washington. So we live on the saltwater bay in the Pacific Northwest. And there was a place down at the beach where Alki, the dog who was reincarnating as Oliver, where we liked to play, and I'd throw him the stick and he'd fetch the stick, and it was his favorite thing to do, and he was always so proud of himself for running 10 feet to fetch a stick and bring it back. But it was always a very special time for us and all in his long life with me. So I went to the beach, and I'm sitting there in the spot where we would throw sticks, and I'm imagining holding him in my arms, magnetizing him, and feeling this puppy body in my arms and knowing it's the same soul that's coming back to me, and trying to establish this contact and hoping that the breeder would, finally agree to sell him to me. And this is why I'm telling you this story, because something that happened next I was not expecting. As I was imagining holding Oliver in my arms and magnetizing him, creating that energetic connection to another soul, which is what we do when we're, connecting with our human and animal families. As I was magnetizing Oliver, all of a sudden, right there in front of me, intuitively appeared the little puppy the breeder wanted me to take, Mr. Blotchy. And I'm like, oh, kind of looking at him there, intuitively in front of me. And he said, he was very sad, and he looked at me and he said, why don't you want me? And, it just break your heart. And I said, oh, honey, I'm sorry. It's not that I don't want you. It's that I want my soul match, and you're not it. You need to be calling for your soul match. You need to be asking your soul match to come to you. And, okay, I see a question, and I'm going to scroll down and look at that here in a second. So this is part of the reason I wanted to share this story with you today, because here was a puppy I had said no to, who was suddenly very connected to me. So in a sense, he magnetized to me. And he was asking me, why don't you want me? And I said, it's not you. You need to call the soul to you that you came here to be with. And here's why I want you to pay attention to this. He looked at me very earnestly and said, don't you have the little girl? And in my head, I could see this little blonde girl, about 8 or 9 years old, the only child in the family, that there was something that, something popped up here I needed to get rid of. Something else going on there. And I said, oh, honey, I'm so sorry. No, the little girl is not with me. You keep calling her and you keep trying to connect with her. And so eventually the breeder decided he didn't understand what I was talking about sending a soul to him, but he did agree to sell me Oliver. And that's why Oliver is with me today, 3 years later. Hi, Francis. Thanks for joining us. But the story of Mr. Blotchy and magnetizing is what I want you to think about, because when I was back east picking up Ollie, Mr. Blotchy was still there. They were still hoping at the very end that I would take him. And I tried to explain to the breeder who he was looking for and the little girl, and did he have a client with a little girl. He didn't know what I was talking about. He had not met anyone like that. And there was still plenty of time. I don't know whatever happened with Mr. Blotchy, if he found his soul match. But that's what I want you to think about. When you're out there looking for your animals and you think they might be coming back to you, or you're pretty sure, because, come on, we're all intuitive, we're all healers, we're all tapping into those abilities. When you're out there looking for the animal that may be coming back to you, or just an animal to add to your family, think about what they're looking for too, because Mr. Blotchy thought I had the little girl that he incarnated to be with, and I did not. And I told him that, and I told him I'd try to help them. And I wonder how many times we miss the soul connections that we come back for, either as humans or animals. But when you're out there at a shelter, at a breeder's, or wherever you are looking at your next animal, ask the animal that you're considering, are you my soul match? Are we here to be together? Is there something we need to do together to grow our souls? Because that's what we're here for. We're here in bodies to grow our souls. If we're fortunate, we have other people and other animals in our lives, whether they're living with us, or friends, or other family members, that we can use to our relationships to grow our souls together. But keep in mind that they're looking for their soul match too. And it's a great blessing and a great honor when your soul matches align and you get to share your lives with them. It's also a lot of work. So the other thing I would add to that very quickly is that when you're supporting somebody else's soul growth, as I was supporting Oliver's and coming back to me, you're also supporting some of your own, and it can be really hard work. So have a sense of humor about it, and it'll work out. And let me know your stories. I mean, this is where we share our stories. I'm trying to see if there someone asked a question here. You have a question. You see spider when someone is after me or saying negative stuff. That is a good question. I would look up a spider. I will look it up, what spider means as a totem. But it's clear, I think, to all of us looking here, and I'm sorry I can't pronounce your name, But if you think someone is being negative towards you and then a spider suddenly drops in front of you, for you, that would be a sign, I would think, of caution, of being very particular. Spiders, a lot of us don't like spiders or snakes, but spiders, you know, the webs that they create, they're amazing creatures. And I'll look it up. I'll look up what animal totems are. But you can look at animal totems and you can also look at the circumstances. I would look at these circumstances here and say, if the spider is always showing up and somebody's being negative or something negative around you, I would say that would be a caution flag. Like, be careful what's going to happen next. Be careful about what you're saying and thinking and feeling, and be very observant of the other person, because, you know, we all need to be street smart. So maybe it's a caution sign. I don't know, but I will look up the totems. And so thank you all for joining me here today. I'd also like to give you a crystal of the week to think about. And every week when I tell a little story, I like to share a crystal that is appropriate for them. And this is amazing, right? I'll just turn it so you can see both sides. This is a selenite slab. Selenite, you know, comes in different, well, obviously big slabs like this, but you can buy little pieces of it. This is a slab I bought because selenite is a clearing crystal. It helps clear your home. It helps create a protective grid around your home, but it also helps clear your energies when clients come here for sessions, or I'm done at the end of the day. I'll take my jewelry. Oh yes, Shelley, right? Selenite is awesome. I'll take my jewelry off and lay it and put it on the selenite, and it's clear immediately. So all of the stuck energies release from it. And this, I'm a particularly a lover of modern pieces or modern abstract things, and this to me is very modern looking. And I keep a big chunk of kyanite on it, which kyanite is also clearing. But selenite promotes clear thinking and clear feelings. So the person who's considering what does a spider mean when things are negative around you, try getting a piece of selenite. You can buy small chunks of it. It comes in big, long slabs. It comes in plates. You can even buy it manufactured as a little round plate where you can put in your room, next to your room. Just don't get it wet. Don't wash your selenite. Don't clear it in water. Keep it dry because it'll melt. But in promoting clear thinking, selenite will also help you during the period when I was magnetizing Oliver. I was very anxious. You know, it's like, oh, how's this going to work out? You know, and I couldn't hear him talking to me after he was born. So all those kinds of things where you're trying to calm yourself down and remind yourself that, yes, the world around you is real, but so are the things that we can't see and the concepts that we know are true, but we're like, I really want to believe, but I need some concrete proof. Like, you know, think about the concept of magnetizing and think about what that means for you and your family. So the question was, should you put selenite in the corners? A lot of people will. A lot of people prefer black tourmaline for that. I am personally not a black tourmaline person. My go-to crystal for grounding and protection is columbite, which I've shared on the show before, and I will again in future episodes. It's a harder crystal to find and not as cheap as tourmaline. But selenite is great for gridding, it's great for protection, and it's great for clearing. So if you've got people and animals and all kinds of activity in your house on a regular basis, selenite will help keep those vibrations moving and keep the air clear, the energies clear. So yes, a great thing to put in different corners of your house. I saw somebody else have a question about an animal here. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, going the wrong way. Well, I'm sorry. I saw a question here, but it's not showing up on my screen. Somebody was saying about bringing a dog home, I think. Okay, there we go. Golda, when we were adopting a young dog in 2012, I was cautious. I hadn't had a dog for a while. Good. Yeah, that's smart, Golda. Being cautious. Yeah. I dreamt of him as being my dog in a previous lifetime, and he had come home to us. Golda, that's very true. Thank you for sharing that story. So you're saying that the night before you brought this dog home from the shelter, from the pound, you had a dream where the dog was reincarnating with you. It happens more often than we know. It was happening in my life before I knew it was happening. I spent an entire life with a dog and didn't realize that she had reincarnated with me, even though the circumstances of our coming together were like shocking. So I'm glad you went through with the adoption. I know doing something new after a long period of time can be very disconcerting. So good for you. Thank you for sharing that story, and congratulations on your happy life with your dog. And yes, we talked about putting pieces in the corner. Um, okay, so we're out of time to ask questions today. You are welcome to call my radio show and ask questions on that show. I always forget to put the number in, but it's 202-570-7057. And the show is live at 2 this afternoon, which is 5 Eastern time. But Akash Gupta, the only thing you can do when you're interested in someone and their parents are against the match is to sit down and ask them what the situation is and why and how you can work it out. Talking with people is always a good option, I believe. Not everyone agrees with me, but until we actually hear what the other people are objecting to, we have no way of working to change their minds or to change the circumstances that might be affecting it. So good luck with you on your relationship. Shelly, your dog is 14 and is more tired lately. Your dog is older. That's common as they age. Unfortunately, they don't have the same lifespan that we do. If your dog is a large dog, medium to large dog, that's really very old. And they do get tired and sleep a lot. If it's a younger dog, that's still old for a dog, which doesn't mean she can't live for several more years or even longer. Some breeds can live 20 years depending on the breed. If you're feeling that there's an illness there, I'm not feeling that. I'm feeling age, but I certainly always recommend a veterinary checkup with a trusted veterinarian, running a blood test. Those are things we should do at least once a year with our senior dogs and cats, just to make sure that things are going right, that there isn't an underlying health issue. Sometimes anemia, for example, which would indicate internal bleeding, but I'm not saying that in this case. But a veterinary checkup, definitely, to assure yourself that everything's okay. But that's a pretty common symptom or sign, shall I say, of an older dog just being an older dog. So unless you're seeing other things, I wouldn't worry about the lifespan. I would talk to a vet and see what they think, what's going on there. She's a lab mix, yeah. So she's really very old. I know it's horrible to sound like, because you want them to live to be 90. I'd take her to a vet and have it checked out. And you can always contact me for a quick private session once you get those lab results, and we can talk to your dog and find out what she's thinking. But best of luck to you, and keep us posted. I try to be here every week. I have some things coming up in the next month, so I might not be here every Monday, but I try to be. And I want to thank all of you for being with us here today in this wonderful community. It's our chance to share literally across countries, which is awesome and very inspiring for me. It is my honor and privilege to be here with you each week. Thank you all for joining me. Now, as we end today, I want to end with this clearing, energy clearing with a goddess technique that I was taught by a goddess. It'll also close down those crown chakras that tend to be wide open when Fallon is present in the group with us. And you can use this anytime. I recommend using it in the morning, right before you get up, and at night, right before you go to sleep. But anytime during the day where you feel stressed out, it's just a time to get regrounded and rebalanced, and remembering that we're here doing more than just living in the world. We're contributing to it. We're part of this great community that lives here together on this amazing planet of ours. So cross your hands over your heart and just breathe into the palms of your hands. And imagine healing, healthy, grounding energy going into your palms. And just imagine that. And now blow into the palms of your hands so that you just remember that that breath of air that you blew into your palms is just reminding you of energy, of healthy energy coming back. And then put your hands back on your heart, regrounding you back into your body. So again, thank you for being here with us today. My name again is Robin Fritz. I'm in Seattle, Washington. You can find me for personal sessions at my website at robinfritz.com. I do animal communication, mediumship, personal and business intuition, help people with space clearing, also past life and between life regressions and spiritual awakenings and spiritual journeys. And you are more than welcome, and I would love for you to join me at my radio show. I do take questions there. If you're shy, you can also email me at my website, Robin Fritz. But one more thing before we close, and that's that the people at omtimes.com have created multiple platforms for us to share, including this Facebook Live possibility, as well as the magazine. And so if you could help us all out by liking their page, the Om Times Radio, the Om Times Magazine, Humanity Healing page, and I always appreciate likes on my business page, The Practical Intuitive Robin M. Fritz. And we are here to serve you, so let us know how we can help you in the future. Thank you, everyone across the United States. Thank you from India, from Denmark, from all of the places that you've joined us today. It is my honor to be here with you, and I will look forward to sharing more time with you again coming up. Take care, and trying to figure out how to sign off today here. That's very strange. Live broadcast, right? So thank you. Goodness. And I cannot figure out how to cut this off, so we can all share a good laugh on me here today. I do not understand what's going on here. And I'm afraid to cut it off and lose the recording. There we go. So